There we go.
Yeah.
Notification. Bam! What up? What up? What up?
Every single time.
Another edition of Purpose for Forever. And we're celebrating our 1 year anniversary.
Yes. I'm over the glasses.
Over the glasses.
Yes.
Oh. So we appreciate you guys rocking with us. So my face is leaving. This is Ladies Night.
Bye bye face.
So we are going to drop the intro and I'm out of here.
Wait.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No? Yeah? You ready? Ready. All right. Oh.
What you?
I didn't expect to do that. Hey, we in the building.
All right, don't do it again.
Don't do it again?
No.
Don't do it. Okay.
Please.
We're going back. We have some technical difficulty today. All right, I'm out of here.
Hey, Keita. So, yeah, he's messing with my greatness tonight. So I am the lone woman by myself. I'm going to bring in the ladies because he didn't do that. So bring everybody in. All right, ladies. Did I do that right?
You got it.
All right, so everybody's going to quickly introduce themselves. We'll start with one of the ladies on the bottom. Can everybody hear me?
I'm Niobe.
Hey everybody, I'm Tangela.
Good evening.
I'm Diana.
This is Melissa.
Oh my gosh, ladies, come on. Y'all look like y'all real nervous. We ain't even got started yet. So yes, that is Melissa, Diana, Tangela, and Obi. And just direct, all of these ladies are very much married. And this is not, so let's keep in mind these are all married ladies. And we're doing a few questions, having a little fun. So share, invite, whatever Anthony usually says. We're going to start with some funnies just to kind of lighten the mood a little bit. Okay, ladies. So I'm going to ask this question. And I want to ask this, and I want you to answer in terms of your spouse. So would you rather your spouse be completely hairless or hairy as a gorilla?
Hairless.
Hairless.
Completely hairless.
Ditto.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. So, oh, that's not a good one. One more funny one. Okay, so if we ask your spouse this question about you, what would they say? Would he think you would rather endure childbirth or wear high heels for an entire day? Which one do you think he would pick for you?
Endure childbirth.
He'll pick the heels. He'll pick the stilettos.
Pick the heels.
Yeah, I think he'd pick the heels.
Yeah.
Okay, so those were some easy little icebreaker questions, and then we're gonna dive right into the questions. I feel like I'm missing something. Probably Anthony, because I'm not used to doing this by myself. So let's see.
You got it, Sam.
I don't know why I feel like I'm sweating tonight. Like I'm super nervous, and I'm usually not like so nervous. I don't know what's happening. All right. So the first question.
You got it.
All right. These are some rough questions. All right. So social media boundaries for couples. Do you and your husband have those?
In terms of, do we have access to each other's accounts, or as far as what we post?
I mean, either or, whatever your boundaries might be. Do you have any, or is it just, whatever?
I guess no, we don't have any boundaries, but neither one of us are really that active in social media. It's not anything that's ever come up for us.
We have access to each other's passcode and things like that, but I it hasn't been an issue as far as boundaries or anything like that.
Okay.
Same here. We know each other's passcodes. No issues. He's hardly ever on there anyway. I'm mainly on there for business purposes. But yeah, it's never gotten to a point to where we had to set boundaries.
Okay. And I guess I'll answer because unfortunately my husband tends to live on social media because it's such a big part of what he does. We don't really have boundaries, but we have gotten to the point where, sometimes when there's inboxes and stuff, he's sure to tell me about it. So there's like no secrets and no surprises, but not really any boundaries. I think it kind of boils down to kind of trust and, trusting each other to do what's right. So yeah, we don't really have to have too many boundaries or whatever. We have access to each other's phones, the basic whatever. There's no real secrecy. So it works out, but it is a little hard at times because, social media is difficult. People send all kinds of messages and say all kinds of stuff. So it can be difficult. It can be difficult.
Yeah, it can be.
Okay. When you've had, go ahead.
Not necessary.
Gotcha. Sharing is, when you've had a stressful day, what makes it better? How do you decompress or recharge?
For me, a couple things. Usually I'll share with my husband, it's been one of those days. He'll, try to take the bulk of the household stuff or, make sure that the kids are good. But honestly, sometimes just spending time with them, laughing or watching, some random show on TV and just kind of doing something fun really kind of helps me decompress because it just reminds me of what's important, and really what's important in the final, analysis is your family. And, at that point, when I've had a bad day, that's kind of like my safe place.
Okay.
Nachos.
A foot rub, Terry, I hope that means you rubbing her feet and she not rubbing yours. Anybody else want their tips? One of these headphones. I lost somebody. I don't know. I think I lost somebody. Oh, Melissa's gone. So for me, when I've had a long, stressful day, my days haven't been as bad since I'm unfortunately home right now. So my days aren't really as stressful as when I was working. But coming home to my kids, and they're always so mommy, they want to hug you and all of that stuff. That usually helps. Sometimes some music, some good music, you could just sing off key and loud. That usually helps. And then, them real rough days, I want to cook. Like I can just go in the kitchen and cook something, and it often helps me feel better. I like listening to Pandora old school. Yes, some old school R&B is always great. Melissa, did you hear the question before you left?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay. So when you've had a long, stressful day, what makes it better? How do you recharge?
The R&B normally does it for me. I'm an old school buff, so I love old school music. And just talking to my husband, hearing his voice is very comforting to me. I can always go to him, and he always says the right things to make me, kind of calm down and me rethink things over, and just makes me ready to come home. So I would think between music, my husband's voice, and my children, we always greet each other when we come in the door of how was your day, just those things to look forward to. That helps me decompress.
Okay, that's a good one. So ooh, these are some serious questions. If you had to describe your spouse in one sentence, what would it be?
I'll go first. One sentence isn't fair because I would first start to say, my husband is my absolute best friend.
Okay,
And I guess that's not fair, but it because he's so much more. But he is my best friend, and I think that sums up our love, the joy, the laughter, the good times, but also the accountability. Because a real friend, won't let you just continue to think wrong things and say wrong things and do wrong things, but they'll really kind of hold you accountable. So that's the short, very, very short answer, is that my husband is my very best friend.
You took mine. 'Cause I was gonna say, he is my best friend. That sums it all for me.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would have to say reliable. My husband is 100% reliable all the time. If he says he's going to do something, he does it. If he's going to be somewhere, he's there all the time, every time.
That's good.
wow, that's a good one. My one sentence would be, I don't know. What would be my one sentence to describe? I would say he's my calm. Because he always, if I'm at 100, he can bring it down to workable levels. He's always the calm to my storm. So he said, I am fabulous. Yes.
That's good. That's balance. And I think that's important in a relationship.
That's good.
Yeah, that's I need it because I can
You
go.
do.
Yeah, I can go to the left sometimes. So he is my calm. Okay.
Can I answer?
I'm sorry. Sure.
You're just gonna leave me here? Not true. Mine is my covering, and I don't really think that really needs explanation.
Right.
Because I'm a mess and I need covering.
Right.
That's good.
But, yeah, those are good. All of those are, things that we as women desperately need. That covering and that reliability and knowing that your friend got your back, at all times. Those are important components of, a relationship. What are you doing? Oh, no, I'm just, okay. All right, so my next question is, so what are some of the things you wish your husband would do more of? I'll go first because I know that's a hard topic. So I'll go first. Sometimes I wish he would say no more often. Maybe not necessarily to me, but just as because sometimes he's so helpful and he's so giving, and so they're like, oh, and can you do this, or can't help out here. And he's, yeah, I got it. I'll do it. So sometimes I wish he would say no more often.
I understand that, Sam.
Mhm. That's a good one.
Yeah, because he spreads himself pretty thin. All right, we can go on to the next one. Let's see. Okay, so I guess this kind of ties into the other question, but it says, what is the best quality of your man and how often do you tell him? Or do you tell him?
Another simple question that can't be locked down into one word, but one of the things that I admire the most about my husband is that he has a stick-to-itiveness, and I guess another word for it is just committed. He's very committed to whatever he's a part of, but specifically to our marriage, to our family, to the girls. He will do whatever it takes to keep us safe, to keep us happy, to keep us happy, satisfied. So that's one of the traits that I admire about him, and I do tell him. I tell him how much we appreciate him.
Okay. Let me see. He said you're talking good. I'm usually pretty good about, letting him know that I'm appreciative of the things that he does and just who he is as a person. Sometimes it's not always with words. Like, sometimes it's a take a break day, or how about, daddy give kids some rest time, but just so they know he's appreciated and that we realize, how hard he works. So yeah, one of his best, I guess, best qualities or whatever is that he's hard at work all the time. Like, not just for other people, but for us as well. And he's always thinking of what and how he can make things better for us.
For mine, I think I would say, and again, it's hard to narrow down to one word, but for me, I would say dependable. He's very dependable. I can always count on him to be my right-hand man, whether it's good or whether it's bad. I can always depend on him. He's very reliable. It's just hard to get down to that one word, but I would say dependable would be mine.
Okay. So let's see. What's this question? What's the weirdest thing your husband eats?
Tim will eat just about anything.
Right.
He's pretty adventurous.
Weird.
Ephraim doesn't really eat anything. I mean, his taste is pretty normal. He doesn't have anything that's out there.
I think maybe the weirdest thing, Anthony could put a lot of stuff on one plate and eat it. So like, he he's cleaning out the refrigerator today. So like, if there's some spaghetti and some chicken and some rice, he'll put it all on one plate and he'll eat it. Like, not like mix it all together. Well, I guess it is kind of mixing it all together, but yeah, he could just, he has that cast iron stomach where he could just eat the weirdest stuff together. Like, I can't eat pasta and rice, but he could just put it on one plate and go for broke.
Mm-hmm. Now, Ephraim has eaten fried dolphin before.
Really?
Fried dolphin.
Like flipper?
Yes.
Oh.
Flipper.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Me neither. Wow. Well, I guess you could.
I don't know
try
if that's
almost
a Florida
anything.
thing.
Oh,
That
maybe.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
Mark's pretty simple. He doesn't eat anything weird. If it doesn't make sense, he's not gonna eat it. So he's very simple.
Okay, so let's see. I got another question. This is a weird one. Okay, why are your implied questions not really what you're asking? For example, like, do you want to go with me means can you drive me, or do you want to go eat means can you buy it? So, did that make sense?
I do the will you come with me all the time just so he drives.
Right. So yeah, so the question is like why is the implied question not really what you ask? Like why not ask, can you drive me to wherever?
I don't know. If I asked him if he would drive me, he would. I don't know if there's an evasive question with it.
I don't do that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't
do
either.
that.
I prefer to drive, so if I say, do you go with me, I kind of want him to go. But yeah, I prefer to drive myself. And when I want him to buy stuff, I just be like, I want you to buy this for me. But it was a question, from one of the husbands. So I wanted to make sure that I ask.
Maybe she doesn't feel, whoever submitted that, maybe she doesn't feel like, if I come out and ask, I'll get a positive answer. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. I tend to be kind of direct. Just whatever I want, I'm going to kind of ask. Like, okay, so this is another question. Describe the difference between wife and girlfriend, and can you be both? It's not, okay, so it doesn't mean like your husband has a girlfriend. I think he was kind of saying, is there a difference between, like wife and mother of your kids, and then just, right, husband, wife.
You can be both.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm both all the time.
Okay, so how does that work?
So date night, I'm girlfriend. We go out, we have fun. Wifey is more business oriented, taking care of the family, taking care of home. But girlfriend is just me and him. We're out, acting silly, doing things we were doing before we got married. Just reliving, things that we've done in the past. But as a wife, it's down to business, taking care of home, taking care of husband and kids. And just taking care of home. So I believe you can do both.
That's a good answer. I like that answer.
Mm-hmm. I agree. That's how I interpret it too.
Right. Yeah,
girlfriends are the fun side.
They are.
Right. When you don't have to talk about the kids, you don't want to talk about the light bill, for the night, you can just use your middle name, be adventurous, kind of just make it fun.
Right.
Okay. Okay. So when a man asks, what would you like to do? And you say nothing, or I don't care. And then he gives you a suggestion and you say no. How does he then spend quality time with you? Does that make sense? So basically, when they ask you what you want to do, and you're like, oh, whatever you want to do, and then he say, let's go bowling. You're like, no. And then he's like, let's go to movies. And you're like, no. So it's like, how then does he spend time with you? If everything he suggests, you say no. What should he do?
You should tell him what you really want to do and get it over with.
Right, from the beginning, just answer the question. I agree. Like instead of the whole, no or nothing, just kind of get to the point. Like men, they can't read our minds. It would be nice. They can't. And if they tried, they'd probably read it wrong. So it's better to just be open from the beginning and kind of be clear on what you want. Um, mm, mm, mm. Okay, so how do you prepare for what you think is going to be uncomfortable conversation?
With your spouse?
Mhm.
I feel like we just kind of dive into it. I think if there's something uncomfortable that needs to be brought up, I think we both kind of know that there's some sort of uncomfortable thing, and we kind of just dive into it.
I agree. We pretty much, my husband and I pretty much talk about everything. But if there was something specifically, like that I wanted or needed to address with him, I would definitely approach it with patience, but also be as clear as possible and as just clear. And so that, I'm making sure that I'm expressing what needs to be said.
I know, like, there's been times when things happen, and I kind of like, I want to tell him, but I know if I tell him, he's like, okay, we done with this. We're not talking to them. We're not, so it becomes like that uncomfortable space because you have to say something, but it's also like you're not really ready, I guess, to make so much of a change in the situation. And that makes sense. So that can cause, like a conversation to be uncomfortable because you want to be, you want to be forthright, but at the same time, he's like, well, your sister and the dog not coming back over here, or whatever it is. My sister don't have a dog. So like, they kind of sometimes will cut things off to protect you, which is well, and it should be done, but sometimes it can cause things to be a bit sticky.
And I think sometimes it's okay to just kind of, say what you need from this conversation. And, sometimes my husband asked me, do you need me to do something about this, or do you want me to listen? And most of the time I say, okay, no, I just want you to listen. We don't have to do anything about it. But I think that's when knowing your spouse comes in, the more and the more efficiently you communicate. I think you kind of pick up on, is this one of those, time to act moments, or is this just kind of a, we're just discussing?
That's good.
Okay, let's see. Ooh, some of these questions I don't know if I should ask.
Uh-oh.
Like some of these are a little interesting. So I'm trying to find the mild questions. Okay, so have you ever felt like you were constantly filling your spouse's cup, but yours was not being filled, whether that's emotionally, spiritually, physically, or financially?
I can't say that I have.
I don't think I have either.
Yeah, me neither.
And not to kind of paint like a perfect marriage, because there's no perfect marriage.
Right.
But I think one thing that my husband does well is that if he knows that I'm going through something, he can probably pick up on it before it manifests itself. And he tries to put in some preventative measures, like, okay, do you need a minute? You can stay in the room all night. I'll light you some candles, get you some books, or get you your favorite snacks or whatever you need. Let me minister to you. But it has to be mutual, and we have to make sure we kind of check in on each other.
I think it's a balance. I think that it goes both ways.
Right.
So
I will say, with his desire to not use the word no so much, sometimes not, like sometimes, he could get sidetracked like tunnel vision. You know, when he's working on a project, it's him and it's this computer, and he's gonna fight it out until he gets it done. So, you know, there have been times sometimes I have to kind of tap him on his shoulder and remind him, you know, like I brought you dinner today, I brought you breakfast, I brought you lunch, all at this desk, you know, like I need to kind of get up and come into the rest of the world. But there are times sometimes where I just have to remind him, you know, like take a break, take a step away, but not so much that I'm constantly doing things and he's not. But you know, sometimes I have to remind him about that balance, especially as it pertains to using no. Because he don't say no. How would you advise a couple? Well, how would you advise a couple on how to deal with maybe a disconnected spouse?
Disconnected from,
I guess,
the marriage
from
and the relationship.
Yeah, I guess that would be.
I think the first thing you think of is communication, but communication is only as good as if both people are, you know, contributing to the communication. If that doesn't help, then I would definitely recommend seeking counsel or seeking some sort of therapy, especially if it's early on, because if it's early on, you may be able to address something that could potentially turn into something a little bit more damaging. But I think what can't happen is pushing, because if the husband is the one who's disconnected, pushing them to connect and engage probably would kind of make them shut down a little bit more. And if you have a Christ-centered marriage, then you definitely want to, you know, intensify your prayers, and you definitely want to intensify your ministry and your service to your spouse.
I always try to remind people, like, to have the conversation about how you first got together, what you first, you know, saw in each other, to kind of look at him through that, you know, through those eyes, the things that you first were attracted to. You know, don't look at the problem that you're having right now. Think about the person. Definitely communication is always important. Encouraging them to talk, but also encouraging them to listen to one another. Because all communication is not verbal. Sometimes it's body language. You know, sometimes she just keep burning your toast because she mad, you know, or he won't take out the garbage because he mad at you, or, you know, little things. So I always try to encourage people to be mindful of what's happening, you know, in the household, in the relationship, you know, try to see it from the other person's side. And then also too, to make sure that you're giving what you want. Like, it's easy to say, I'm not getting.
That's good.
I'm not getting, but we random think about what we're giving.
Right.
He said, what if the abs are gone?
Wow.
So yeah, that would be my advice, to kind of go back to the drawing board and start from the beginning.
That's good advice.
Is it ever okay to keep secrets from your spouse?
I don't think so. I think it depends on the relationship. My husband and I kind of share everything. So in our marriage, no, but it could be different for somebody else.
I agree. Now I know, you know, there's some things, like if there's a surprise, you know, you want to keep a secret, you know, that's different. But deception, that's what we have to be careful of. Keeping secrets can lead to deception. And then if it's something that you don't want your spouse to know, then you have to ask, okay, why can't he know this?
I agree.
Yeah, I agree. And secret, things always have a way of coming out, and
Always.
they come out at the worst time, in the worst way. And something, that may have been simple and an easy fix in the beginning has now, you know, turned your relationship upside down because you weren't honest in the beginning. And definitely honesty is always the way to go, especially, somebody you're building a life with, somebody that you're sharing a life with. And if you're sharing children with and building a home, you definitely want to make sure that you're honest with that person. So secrets is always a real dangerous thing to have
Mm-hmm.
between spouses. So what would be your idea of the perfect date? Perfect date night under current circumstances, because we know right now
Yeah.
dates are interesting. So what's your idea of a perfect date night?
Making homemade pizza and watching a movie
Oh, that sounds fun.
with ice cream after.
She's with ice cream after.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That is a good one.
I've been liking outdoors a lot lately. Something outdoors like a picnic or, a little impromptu lunch at a park or something might be nice.
Oh yeah, that's good. Melissa, so the last question was, what's your idea of a perfect date night under current circumstances?
Under the current circumstance,
Yeah. So why are you thinking? So mine, because I like to cook and stuff, is having another couple over, making dinner, having some other people to talk to. It's kind of just been me, him, and the kids. And naturally you love your family, but sometimes just having some outdoor, outside people to come in and talk to and interact with, over a nice dinner. That's always good.
so are you saying under the circumstances we're in now?
Yeah, like the COVID.
So, I'm really lovey-dovey, so I know like the cooking. I like to cook. I would think us cooking together would be good. Like have a blanket in the living room and just have like a dinner or something like that. Whether like it's on the like a picnic type thing or even at the dining room table with some candles and some nice music. No other distractions, no TV, no phones, just me and him. Maybe a nice hot bubble bath. Just enjoying each other,
Mm-hmm.
doing everything together. I think that would be the perfect date night for me.
Listen, that sounds good. So can I send my kids to your house while we do that?
That's what I was thinking. I was like, okay, then what part do the kids bust in?
Right, because I can feed them. I'll make a nice dinner. I got candles on the table, and you look and there's eyeballs peeping around the corner. And then, if I'm in the tub, before he can even get in the bathroom where I am, there's little taps at the door. And my kids are not even little. They 12 and 10, but I can't shake them. I can't shake them.
I got you.
Yeah.
They smell you.
Got you.
They can
Right,
smell
they
you
smell
no matter where you go.
Yes. Mommy's about to relax. Mommy and Daddy are having a minute.
You go.
Yeah.
No matter where you go. Yeah, give
See,
me
Diana?
a bottle of Moscato,
Yes.
some food,
Yeah.
and a movie, and I'm good.
That's good.
See, and then and then you have Caitlin. She gonna come and sit right in between the two of y'all.
Yeah, grab me by the waist.
Right, because that's what Lexi does. See, Diana, you still got some enjoyable time because you don't have the little pestilences yet. So you still got some good time. And Melissa, all her kids is about grown, so she got it kind of good too.
Yeah, I got one left, and he's 17, and so when he's at work, that's when I plan.
I wish I could get mine a job now. Anything that gets them out of the house.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see. What makes your spouse's day?
See your dog. He loves that dog.
Football. Detroit Lions football. I'm telling you, that's good. He's Detroit all day, so that'll make his day.
So Anthony's pretty simple. If I cook him something and he could take a nap afterwards, he happy. Don't matter where the nap is being taken, on the couch, in a chair. He got a full belly and some nap time. And he is a happy man. So he's pretty simple. It doesn't take much. He can get a nap in. It could be 15 minutes and he's happy with 15 minute nap. I don't know how he does it, but that 15-minute nap gives him life. Right, the itis. As soon as his stomach is full, his eyes are ready to close. So if he can get a full belly and a nap, he is happy. Okay, let's see. So I can't even read my own writing. That's rough. So what are some of the things that you guys have been doing as far as like your relationship during the quarantine, the COVID, to keep, I don't know, just to keep things from getting monotonous, I guess?
Well, if there was COVID or not, my husband's deployed, so we FaceTime.
I feel like we've been talking a lot lately, and not just kind of communicating, but just talking about things, how things affect us. Everything from childhood to work, to how we feel about certain things, and we've been talking a lot more and being a lot more. Making a lot of self-discoveries with each other, if that makes sense. I guess I highlight this time because we really aren't going out as much. So when we've had a lot more time to be a lot more reflective, and really kind of share just some things that has been has always been there, but just the opportunity to kind of really sit and talk about it and share. So we've been doing a lot of deep conversations lately.
Yeah, I think this time forces you to pay attention to things that you may not have normally paid attention to.
Right.
I agree.
Yeah, for us, it seems like the COVID happened, and I came home, but not a lot really changed for him. Actually, I think he's been busier since COVID than, look at him. He's trying to get some brownie points tonight. He's been busier than he was before COVID. Like, I'm less busy, and now he's super busy. So it's kind of like, those free moments where we could just kind of stop and, talk and find creative things to do with the kids. Yes, binge watch. I know everybody's been binge watching. Anthony sucks at binging. About 2 or 3 episodes, and his attention has gone to something else. So that doesn't really work for us. But finding creative things to do with the kids. Like we bought coloring books and
Yeah.
we've been coloring and we've been painting. Just some of the simplest things we've been able to do during COVID when he's not super busy, which is, but it makes it kind of more special to kind of have that moment where you can fit something, fun and family-like in, and then he goes back to his work. So, yeah.
For us, I would say we've been finding ways to decorate the house, whether it's buying new curtains or a new comforter, or we've just been finding different projects to do in the house together. Sam, he's got the drop top, so
Right.
we'll get in the car and take a ride.
I know, with your hair all blowing.
We'll just get in the car and just take a ride, like an hour ride, and come back, just for some fresh air, just for some conversation, just something for refreshing for both of us, because we both have been working extremely hard with our full-time jobs, and so it's just good to relax and just have a really good conversation, whether it's at home doing projects or just out and about doing things together. It's just what's been good during this quarantine time.
So, Diana, I know Tim is deployed and he's away, and he's often away a lot. What's that like for you?
For us, I think because most of our relationship has been like that, it's not too hard for us because that's what we know. I think when we moved to New York and he wasn't deploying, that was almost a little bit more difficult because it was the first time that we had spent every day together like that.
Yeah, that could be a little shell shock, because when I first got laid off and I was home, and every day you wake up and everybody's just right here.
Oh, yeah.
It was hard for me. The first week or two, I felt like I was gonna escape out of a window. It's hard when you're used to things being one way, and then it all changed in the blink of an eye.
Yeah.
Oh, let's see. Is it possible to spend too much time together?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. You need separation. You need time to miss the other person. You do.
Okay, so absence makes the heart grow fonder.
Yes.
And I think it's necessary too, because it's in those, separated times that you really find out who you are and the things that you need, and really become better as an individual. So the better I am individually, the better I can contribute to our marriage. So yeah, you definitely need some time apart. Otherwise you will be so consumed with each other to, your identity is hidden in somebody else.
Correct.
Right.
I totally agree with that. So since you brought it up, what does that look like? The whole your identity being wrapped up in someone else.
I think individuals have to be clear as to their personal goals and desires, and pursue it with holding nothing, with no abandon, and hopefully your spouse is a supportive one, that they won't feel intimidated or threatened by you accomplishing things or pursuing things, and hopefully they're on their own path of pursuit, of whatever it may be, a business or higher education or whatever it is, because again, the better we are individually, the better we are together.
That's good.
And not just that, but I think you can wake up one day and realize it's kind of like, you don't even know what you like anymore. It's kind of like you don't know where you begin and the other person ends, and you hold on so tight, straight. It's like you smother each other. Nobody can breathe. He can't breathe with you, and it's just too much. So yeah, I think sometimes you definitely have to have, me time. It's okay to be an individual and still be married.
Right.
Right.
That makes the relationship healthy.
Right.
I
Because
agree.
it's unhealthy for everything. Every sentence has to begin or end with the other person.
Mm-hmm.
You have to, secure enough to, I don't know, I think of it like, I want to be Anthony's wife. I want to be in a relationship with him. But the need, like, I won't die, the need. I think it's a difference, with wanting somebody in your life and feeling like you need them.
Mm-hmm.
A need is just, to me, so extreme. It can get so unhealthy
Mm-hmm.
if you go too far.
And I think that's what even makes it even more enjoyable, because I want to spend my time with you. This is a choice that I'm making, that, out of all the choices I have, this is where I choose, to spend our that time.
Right.
Right.
I have a question, since
Go ahead.
we kind of brought that up. I kind of look at, how back in the day, you typically you saw the wife kind of cater to the husband. And as time has kind of gone, we see a lot more independent and driven women, where it seems like the pendulum has swung completely to the other side. How do we maintain that balance of staying driven, but, still catering to your spouse? Or is there a such thing as being able to successfully do both?
I believe there is. I mean, I think it's just being conscious of, what you're doing, kind of like at all times. It's like you're constantly self-reflecting, seeing your goals are over here, and you have to be kind of conscious of how you're getting there, because the end doesn't always justify the means. Like if you're going to get there at all costs, and then, when I get there, then I'll drag my family or I'll drag my spouse over with, then, that's a recipe for disaster. But I think if along the way, if you're constantly self-correcting, and checking and being aware of your relationship and aware of your surroundings, I think that it's possible to do both.
I think you have to prioritize.
Right.
That's what I think. It's all about priorities and how you set them up. But you also have to have a supportive spouse.
It's true.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're gonna do something, say it is a business, it would be the best thing to have a supportive husband that can be there to help give you ideas, to help just kind of knowing that you have that support system, so that if it fails or if it succeeds, you have some balance. And I think that, I guess I'll speak for myself, that, with me, I do have a business, and my husband is 110% supportive. And I always ask him for ideas. I involve him. I don't leave him out. So I think that's what helps me, because I involve him, I involve my children in the business, so that it's not me off doing something on my own and not involving them. They are a part of what I'm doing, and they are the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. So I just try to keep it a full circle, and having that support system, I think, is top notch.
Oh, look at the question. Does your husband have to like or believe in your idea in order to be considered supportive? I don't know that he has to necessarily like it. I think he has to believe in you. He has to believe in me. Like, yeah, you can't be supportive and you don't believe in me. Like, you don't really have to like. I mean, it's kind of a gray area, because I guess it kind of depends on what kind of business you're trying to get into. But I think you definitely have to believe in you and, be supportive of you. What if in this period, I need a little extra for the kids so I can pursue this, or, I need a little extra time over here so I can pursue this. So I think he definitely has to be supportive of me, not necessarily whatever the idea is. Maybe he just doesn't like it, but, he still has to support me.
I agree. I think that's a good way to look at it. I don't think you have to like the idea, but if I need you to do something, I still need you to run these packages though. So
Right.
yeah.
Right. So that, I think that's where that whole best friend and covering and reliability, like that's where all that comes into play, because you still have to be all of those things for me while I'm, doing these other things. So all those things, work in concert. And we know that a relationship, people say 50-50. I believe a relationship has to be 100% on both sides. You can't, you can't give half of yourself, because 50% is only half. So don't 50-50 me. I need your full support, full, it has to be a partnership. We have to be in this together and be committed to each other. And as long as you're committed to each other, I think all the other pieces fall together. As long as you have that commitment to each other, everything else kind of, comes together. It's still work. There's still steps. There's still things you have to do. But for the most part, as long as that commitment is there, you have a ground to stand on. So those were all of my questions. Did you want to say something? Thank you, ladies, so much for coming on and supporting me and hanging out with me. And while I was over here sweating, and I don't even know what's going on tonight. I really feel like I'm in the hot seat. But thank you so much. It has been my honor to have you guys on, especially Diana, it was your first time. Thank you so much for agreeing. And Naomi,
yes,
thank you so much. I so appreciate y'all. I don't know how to close, so I keep looking to the left.
So yes, thank you guys for coming on and hanging out. Appreciate you. She made it through.
yeah, she did a good job.
Great job, Sam.
The second time, she did good. She
I
did
don't
good.
know. Done that. I'm struggling.
It's all good. We appreciate you guys, and thank you guys for participating. Thank you everybody for watching. Make sure, yes, see, great job, Sam. Look at that. Make sure you guys are sharing and tagging somebody else, another lady, another couple that may need to be a part of the conversation, or just watch the replay. And if you guys, ladies, don't leave. We're gonna take you off screen. We're gonna close out, and then she's gonna come back. All right. So thank you again. Thank you again. Hold on. All right. Boom. Boom. I'm gonna run this outro. This is about it. We're gonna make this thing happen.
Okay. You
So,
don't have it up there.
I'm just gonna switch it up. Bam. They won't even know the difference. Bam. All right. So we're gonna just shut it down. As always, love intentionally.
Love unconditionally.
And love on purpose. See you later, guys.